Hello, Michael Sheridan here. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake. As usual, thanks to everyone who sent their dreams to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. They're the lifeblood of the show, so please continue to send them in. If you want to come on air, phone the station on 425-373-5527. That's 425-373-5527. You can find all these details and more on my website at dream-analysis.com/kknw, including archives to previous shows. Next week I have Jackie Campbell on the show. We tried to get her on before, but due to illness, Heidi filled in for her. Jackie is a clairvoyant medium, and the crossover with dreams there is that she gets messages from spirit in symbolic form, the same symbolic form that dreams use. If you have questions for Jackie, you can call her during the show next week, or email in advance to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. Sometimes I get emails from listeners saying I didn't do their dream. Apologies if you've sent one in and I didn't get to it. Always feel free to send it in again or send different ones. A lot of my reasons for selecting one dream over another is the dream itself. If it lends itself well to be being used for illustration, then it hits the top of my list. Sometimes, however, the subject matter of the dream may be unsuitable for doing on the air. If you really must have your dream done, I do offer a private service. For these, I record the analysis and email it to you. The recording is typically between 15 and 25 minutes long, so more detailed than what we are hitting here. In some cases, I phone you with the analysis so you can quiz me about it. That typically takes an hour or more. Now, of course, you can still get your analysis done on the show, just like this. And our first dream's from a lady. She says, she calls it Dream Wolf and Dog. She says, I was a white wolf in my own home. When I got near my husband sitting on our sofa, I transformed into a white dog with cream spots and long floppy ears. I was the same size. I knew that when I looked like a dog, I was really a wolf. I knew the wolf was the real me. I walked away from my husband, and I was a wolf again, then back, and I was a dog again. Then I understood something about him, created the illusion in me, but I knew I was still the wolf, even when I looked like a dog. Okay, so that's a really good dream. It shows your true spiritual nature is coming to light, or you're becoming aware of your true spiritual nature. And you reflect what others want to see in you in order to be accepted. So that's the big thing with the white and cream spots. Cream is all about acceptance. But that you is an illusion. You're naturally psychic and tuned in. And you're stronger than you've been giving yourself credit for. You can play the domestic life, but realize you have a very strong natural instinct that you're barely... I have written here that's barely under the surface. I wrote it wrong. It's barely under the surface, but you're aware of it. You're waking up to all this now, so it's good. But it's a really good dream because it shows you being aware that you're not what you previously perceived or what other people perceive in you, which is more important. So, cool dream. The next dream is from Eileen. She says, Hi, Michael. Last night I had a dream in which I was having a dream about someone I care about. It was a male, but I cannot remember if it was my son or a male friend. In my actual dream, I woke up and was telling the person I'd dreamed about the dream I had of him and how it felt good to connect with him. Both my son and my friend live quite a distance away, she says. I woke up suddenly because as I spoke to him in the dream, I realized I was still in a dream. Have you ever encountered this? It stayed with me all day. Usually I get insight into the meaning of my dreams, but this time I'm stumped. It felt as if I had entered another world. Love your show. Thank you for that. And indeed we do. We do enter another world when we enter the world of dreams. And some people become lucid and wake up to that fact, which is quite interesting. Friends of mine run a dream group here in Seattle where that's what they cover, lucid dreams all the time. Hi, Katie. Anyway, I used to wake up like that, and I would phone the person I learned how to interpret dreams from. So I'd have a dream, and then I'd wake up thinking I'd woken up from the dream, and be going about my normal daily routine, and I'd phone George and I'd say, hey, this is the dream I had, and he would tell me what it means. And that was really cool, because once he would tell me what it means, and then I would wake up for real, then that would be the exactly correct interpretation of the dream. And that's what we do in our dreams. So if something else had happened in your dream, and you had gotten advice on something when you were in the semi-awake state, in the kind of lucid state, that's always great. It's always a great state. And you can get to that state with practice. It's very easy to do. Maybe we'll cover that in one of the subjects of the show one of the weeks. But yeah, it's an interesting one. So me, when I was analysing, or my friend, my tutor was analysing my dreams for me, that's why I say when you have somebody in your dream who has a particular skill, they're a guide, and whatever skill they have, you've got. So in that dream, in those dreams from long ago, for me, it was showing me that I could analyse my dreams. It's like we let our guard down and we use the skills that we already have, but we somehow have convinced ourselves on the earth plane that we don't. And related to this, on Sunday I was out with 3 people who were very close to me, one of whom I'm going to marry. Anyway, so our friend told us when we were out that a friend who had died recently 2 weeks ago appeared to him in his dream and said to him he wasn't getting enough exercise, and that he also needed to exercise his finger. And just like this dreamer, he was wondering what that was about. And of course, I've said it many times, but just to reiterate, when we sleep, our soul leaves our body, or we leave our body, and we go to the astral plane, and a part of the astral plane is where dreams take place. But we also have encounters with loved ones who are still on the earth plane, or loved ones who have passed on, and we will have dialogue and conversations with those, and we can remember these dialogues through dreams later on. The dreams don't happen at that point, but later on we can remember that dialogue and mix it in with a dream. So in this case, it was the dreamer's friend, even though he only died 2 weeks ago. Some people can meet us fairly quickly. Normally takes a few months, but some people can do it quickly. And they always tend to tell you something kind of trivial, that it's not a earth-shattering revelation, but it's something that's very personal to your life, something that's changed or that they weren't aware of when they were alive. And so by doing that, they're letting you know that they're still around you, they're still around, and they're still interested in what you're doing. And it's just so common and very reassuring to see that. Like, for instance, being told you changed your glasses prescription is a common one to hear from people who've moved on. Anyway, next dream is called Earthquakes and More. And there's a few here because it sort of morphs. So the first part is called Earthquake. And she says, in the dream, I'm in a van with my co-workers. I'm sitting in the back middle seat. I can clearly see out the front windshield as we are driving down the freeway. I'm watching the road and I see that it curves to the right up ahead. Suddenly I see the freeway begin to ripple violently, and I instantly understand that this is the shockwave of an earthquake. I'd see it coming towards us and I begin to yell to warn everybody, but then it hits us and I can feel it and hear the loud boom that comes with it. It startles me so much that I wake up. Okay, so what's interesting here, the van has to do with career. Now, this lady has lots of dreams about vans, and they always connect with her dad. But vans have to do with careers. Typically, you only have a van if you're using it for a business purpose. So that's why that is there. She's sitting in the back, so it's saying when it comes to her career, she's not in the driving seat, she's in the middle and in the back. But she's saying she can see clearly out the front windshield. Now she's a clairvoyant, so this shows up in her dream that way, so that's fine. But it also is telling her, look, use your clairvoyance and you'll see what's coming. And the freeway has to do with the heart. So it's connecting the heart and your career together. So it's saying the career you're on, the path you're on is not that good for your heart. It's not really a horrible warning dream or anything like that. It's just saying, look, something's going to rumble you and make you wake up, and you're going to say, I should be doing something differently. I have more skills than what I'm using in this career. And you're going to see this coming. But that's what the dream is about. I don't have any other notes on it there. That's fine. The next one is called Hand Soap. And she says here, in my dream, I have gone into a public restroom at a mall. Malls are to do with our needs. We generally go to the mall or the store when there's something we need to get. So this is something she needs to do. For some reason, so she goes to the public restroom. So it says she has to eliminate something. That's what restrooms are about. Eliminate something psychological, that is. And we're going to get clues then. For some reason, there's a bathtub in the restroom and I lay down in it. So the bathtubs are anything that can carry water. Well, the bathtub's about cleansing, and so we know it's elimination, but it's also to do with the reproductive system, because it's something that can hold water. I don't remember being undressed or actually bathing. However, I'm washing my hands. Washing your hands is good. The smell and the texture of the liquid hand soap that they have there is luxurious, and I'm really enjoying it. Slowly washing my hands and thinking to myself that I will have to find this brand of soap because I like it so much. Okay, so that's really good. So it's saying cleansing yourself with regard to something, and the rest of the dream will tell us. So we know the clues are it's pointing at the reproductive system. Here, because you're washing your hands and enjoying it, it's saying that you've done something to already start this process. You've started the cleansing process. So just as I'm rinsing the soap off my hands, 2 black men come into the restroom. I don't know why they didn't go into the other restroom. I'm aware there are 2 separate rooms. So we have the 2s coming up. This is the same lady. I said she's clairvoyant. So we have 2 2s, which is her channeling ability showing up in this dream as well. I think the men don't notice me, so I get ready to say something to them. Then one of them looks right at me, and I'm instantly afraid. Okay, so this is what you have to deal with. You have to eliminate fears that come up, and she identifies them later on herself. But that's what washing your hands is all to do with. So men in dreams can represent a number of things. They can represent confidence and courage, so they're going to represent that too. So fears that block your confidence and courage. So eliminate the things that block that, and this is going to get restored. So I get ready to say something to them. Then one of them looks right at me, and I'm instantly afraid. Okay, we had that, sorry. I'm still laying in this bathtub to hide, but then I decide to scream in the hopes that my fiancé will hear me and come rescue me. I notice now that I'm covered in red blankets as if I'm lying in bed. Okay, so there are many layers to dreams. So we could look at this and talk about relationship, but we're not going to now. We're going to talk about, we all have male and female sides. So this dream is about fears that block your male side. And when you're going to scream to wake up your fiancé, who's your male side, that's saying the cleansing that you're doing is being done in order, or you're being asked to do it in order to wake up and restore the balance of male energy within you. We all have male and female. And when we block the flow or inhibit it in some way of either side, our dream's going to say, look, redress this balance, fix it up, because you have strengths that come from this aspect of your nature that you're not able to tune into because you're blocking it. Anyway, my eyes are closed, not good. I start screaming loudly, and I'm surprised because I remember dreams where I can't scream at all when I try to. Then I finally realize that this is also a dream, and I remember that the black men represent my attitudes/fear of men in general, and I decide to face them instead of hiding or screaming. And that's really good. So that's why I put this dream here right after the other one, where we have somebody being aware that they're dreaming. So here in the dream, she recognizes what these 2 people represent. So they're agents sort of sent into the dream to symbolize this fear and help her realize that it's part of her reality so that she can do something to eliminate it. So quite often what we have is we can see in other people issues much more easily than we can see our own issues. And the whole idea of dreams is to allow us see in a kind of an objective way what our own issues are, so that we can then accept we have them, and then after accepting that we have them, do something to eliminate them. I open my eyes and they are gone. Now that's because she's become aware in the dream. And this is one thing that's really good about becoming lucid in a dream. But I find that I'm in some house with a young man with a beard, young white man with a beard. He's getting into bed next to me. So we go from being afraid of men to now letting somebody get into bed with you. And that's what it's about, getting intimately in touch with your own male side, which is perfect. So the dream, it's like if you were to say, what do I need to do after this dream? Nothing. You've already done it in the dream. It's perfect. I don't recognize him, but I'm very aware that I've changed something. Okay, so you don't recognize an aspect of yourself. That's what the dream is saying. So get in touch with your male side, and you have a lot to learn about yourself, which is always going to be good. Then my dream takes another turn. I get out of bed with this guy, and I don't recognize whom I don't recognize, and I'm suddenly at my ex-girlfriend's parents' house. Okay, so something that's important to say in the previous part, covering yourself with the blankets in the bathtub. So we know the bathtub represents femininity or reproductive system, and covering yourself with the blanket says that you try to hide your femininity through covering yourself up, and the blankets here are going to be a reference to weight. So you use weight to hide your femininity, and of course you can't hide your femininity, but as kids is when we decide to make these choices. They're done at that age in our lives. So why point this out? You point it out because dealing with this fear will make you magically drop the weight that you've been trying to drop. So that would be really good too. Anyway, I'm at my ex-girlfriend's parents' house. It's, yes, you read that right. So she has a fiance now and used to go with a girl. It's Christmas and we were helping to decorate the house. Christmas is to do at birth, so the dreams are going back in time. This part's back in time. So it's about your birth and you're helping to decorate the house. I'm aware that I do not feel welcome here. So this is about you in your mom's womb, not feeling welcome. And this is really where issues come from. It's either at that stage in your life or just after birth, or most likely both. So your parents, it's kind of like in the way that your mom or your dad didn't feel probably capable of raising a child and didn't want a child. They don't think you're picking this up, so they don't think it's an issue at all. They keep them to themselves, keep the issues to themselves, but not really. A child is wide open to the spirit world, much more open than we are. And you pick it up as a child and, of course, are affected by it. But, of course, that's on purpose. This is meant to shape you the way you were in a deliberate way. So I try to keep busy and I make myself useful. I volunteer to set up the nativity scene in the living room. My ex's mother wants to show me that she has a special way to clear the clogged drains. And this is where it gets interesting. So this is physical elimination system. So it's saying physical elimination goes right back to then. And of course, I said this is about your parents, even though it's your ex's mother. It's all the same. Everything, the mother in this part of the dream represents your mother. She wants to show you how to clear the clogged drains. She has a green/brown disc in her hands that's a little bigger than a hockey puck. She puts it into this weird clear plastic apparatus that sits on top of the microwave, and then she turns on the microwave. Now, microwaves have to do with the reproductive system again. Why ovens have to do with the reproductive system. We have the expression having a bun in the oven to indicate you're pregnant. And a microwave oven is also an oven, of course. And it started appearing more and more dreams to indicate the reproductive system because the word micro or small being in it, indicating a small version of yourself. Anyway, she turns on the microwave. It makes the disc explode, but the explosion is contained in the apparatus. She explains that the apparatus is hooked up to the drains and that the microwave activates the disc so that it will clean out the clogged drains. I'm thinking, this is a lot of work to get through, and the apparatus must be expensive. I go back to putting together the nativity scene, and that's when I wake up. Okay, so because the apparatus is man-made, is plastic. It says it's man-made because plastic is a man-made substance. So it's saying what you need to do is turn on your feminine power because you're turning on the microwave power, and that's going to explode and clear these clogged drains. So pretty much the same as the previous dream, but here we have a little bit more, an extra flavor on it, saying get into your own feminine power, help eliminate the fears that you picked up from dad, to eliminate your fears around men, because that's necessary to get into your feminine power. Because you have male and female side, you want them to be in balance. You can't have feminine power and just be in your female energy. It's you may know some people who are like that, but they're not balanced. They might say they're feminist. Feminism is all about equality, but equality and hating men at the same time, that doesn't go together. You can't hate half the planet and call yourself a person who's into equality. So this is about restoring what caused you to fear men, and then also getting into your feminine power, and you won't know yourself. Now, you have a few more comments there, but I will skip them. Anyway, next dream, we've quite a few, so let me speed up. This one is, an eagle envelopes a high-flying bird. This was a strange dream. I was looking up into the bright, clear blue sky, and I saw a magnificent white bird up very high. I was thinking it was a dove, but it was so high. As I was marvelling at it, I saw an eagle with wings fully outstretched, soaring way above the other bird. It swiftly moved down right over the other bird, I assumed to kill it. The white bird didn't see it, as it would never have thought to look up. The eagle made contact with the other bird, and they both began to fall. The eagle wrapped its wings around the white bird without touching it. It looked like it had it in a trance because the white bird possibly could have flown away, but it didn't. I looked to my daughter and shouted for her to look at this. It's amazing. When I looked back, the birds had landed in a field right beside us. I assumed the eagle killed the other bird. Okay, so simple interpretation. You've made a connection with your higher self. That's what the white bird represents your crown chakra, and the eagle represents your higher self. So it's coming down and connecting with your crown chakra. Crown chakra, by the way, for those people who are tuned in, it shows in text as either violet or white. Now, it's violet or purple when you haven't reached a stage of enlightenment, and when you have reached a stage of enlightenment, it shows as white. So it's already good in this dream that we see it as white, and then connecting the higher self coming down and connecting with it shows a really high vibration is coming for this dreamer, and it's the higher self connecting with the crown chakra. Truly fantastic symbolism in this dream. Trying to pick it up from the last one. Think of the biblical story where the Holy Spirit descends on Jesus in the form of a dove. It's exactly like that. But don't get too cocky. You're not there yet, because the birds were slightly off and to your right, is what you had in your comments. And they didn't touch you. So let's hope they touch you in the next dream. Okay, so another lady this time. She says, this one is titled, A White Snake and White Spider Bite. I am in a covered patio with 3 fish tanks. 2 are large and L-shaped and 1 is small. The one on the left has a big orange goldfish. The water is dingy like at a typical pet store. The one on the right is about the same with no orange fish. Even further to the right is a little one. I had some little translucent white octopus babies into it. Now this dreamer is pregnant now, so that's what the babies are about. But the water is as thick as mud and I'm worried everything in the tank will die. I try to think of a way to thin the plaster like mud as I watch the animal squirm, but a translucent white rattlesnake comes in through the glass door and bites my hand. It hurts a lot and makes me angry. The teeth are going all the way through my hand. I wake up. And then she says, I fall back asleep and I'm in the same room and the same translucent, and a translucent white spider jumps on my hand and bites me. It hurts again. It has 2 teeth. One breaks off of my hand and I pull it out like a thorn. Okay. And everybody hates that type of dream. You wake up from a nightmare, go to the bathroom, think your head's clear, and you go back to bed and you have the same thing happen again. But it tells you it's important because it happened like that. So this is saying that holding on to worry about your baby, which is what you're doing, is blocking your elimination system. And that's all it means. That you need to, it has other things. It says you're clairvoyant or you're psychic because of the glass doors. You can channel as well because of something. There's 2 sets of things. You have a healing ability because of the goldfish. But this dream is focusing on your elimination system, and the goldfish are there in order to heal that in this dream. But what you need to do is not worry about your babies and don't worry about your elimination system. Now, you specifically said, so I'm going to address it. You're afraid this dream is about cancer, and it's not anything you have to worry about at all. It isn't. In fact, I said earlier there's some dreams I don't do on the air because of the subject matter, and cancer dreams, for instance, are one. People are so afraid of that subject matter that it's something you can only do in person. And it's kind of interesting because cancer isn't even the biggest killer on the planet. Heart disease is, and yet that's something you can talk about. Anyway, next dream. Let's see if I skip a few and say, okay. This dream is from a lady called Jane. And she says, Heidi made a very positive impression on your show yesterday because her appearance seems to have inspired the following dream, and she calls it The Reading. Michael Sheridan and Heidi arrived for an unexpected visit. Woohoo, that's great, I'm in a dream. I was happy to see them. In preparation for a reading, Heidi presented a set of cards specifically selected for me as they had my print on them, and she has print in quotes. The cards were of different sizes and arranged in specific sections, separated by paper inserts. My task was to shuffle the cards. I started to shuffle, but there were way too many cards. I woke up still trying to complete the task. Okay. So this dream is, first of all, you call it the reading, so it's about getting a reading. And your task is to recognize that everything in your life affects everything else in your life. You can't separate them all like all these cards are separated in the dream. So working on one thing will help work on anything else. So try avoid compartmentalizing things. For instance, thinking, I want a reading about my spiritual gifts, but you keep talking about my childhood. You know, it's that sort of way. Work on whatever comes up, work on whatever you're told, and that's going to help all the other aspects of your life. Of course, I said spiritual gifts and childhood. That's not your issue, Jane. I just being hypothetical there. But of course, feel free to get a reading from Heidi, because that's what the dream is actually telling you to do. And since you won't have it, her number is 206-673-1074, or you can get her on alk.heidi@gmail.com. Okay, plugging under the other people here. Another dream, quite a short one from Christian. She says, I dreamed of a bee, a stinging bee that flies towards me. Then it makes me scared, so I run away from it. But the bee chases me instead until it caught me and I got stung. It was painful and I woke up. Okay, so this is about something bugging you, obviously, because that's what the bee is doing in reality. And when you consider bees and their essential part in the reproductive cycle of plants, the obvious question is, are you scared to have a child or a second child? Because the bee caught you, the likelihood is that this is in your contract. Like, we all have a contract for being here. That's how we get here. We promise, give me a ticket, I'll get to the earth plane and I'll do X, Y, and Z. In fact, we promise the whole alphabet. And we might get as far as C, because when we get here, we realise it's a bit different. Just like governments, when they get in, they say, it was worse than we thought. We now don't have to stick to our campaign promises. Just kidding. Anyway, another dream. Sorry, let's skip part. It began with me running and crying. I run to the aid of a friend. When I arrive at the friend's home, I discover what looks to be a superficial wound that seems to be made by a knife. There are long, straight bleeding wounds on the forearms and calves, and the most unusual is a wound on my forehead, which is clearly cut in the shape of a letter A. I was crying and very distressed, which caused me to wake from the dream. Okay, now I didn't give your name, but your name does start with an A, and that's what's carved onto your forehead. So that's telling you the cuts are yours, or the wounds are yours. You've been hurt in the past, that's what this dream is about, and you're being asked to realise you are carrying those scars. It's not superficial, like you say in the dream, or you wouldn't be even dreaming about this. The fact that it's a knife tells us that anger is involved, so we know that there was somebody in your life who was very cutting. If I describe a person as very cutting, or she'd cut you to bits, or he'd cut you to bits, you know it's a very angry person that, people just don't like to be on the wrong side of. So you were in a situation like that. We don't have any idea when, because the dream doesn't give us a clue. We just know it's in the past. Quite often it's childhood, but we don't know for you. Crying in this dream is good. Crying in any dream is good. It's healing. Just like if you were actually going through a therapy and recounting a traumatic event, you cry and you need tissues to keep drying your eyes. This dream is the therapy. That's what it is. Many dreams are. And so therefore you crying in this dream is showing that the therapy is working. It's hitting its mark. And that's excellent. So I'm just looking forward. We don't have a possibility to squeeze another one in. So we're going to leave it at that and just remind you that Jackie Campbell will be on the show next week, clairvoyant medium, and we'll be asking her about the symbols she gets to answer your questions.